Hello viewers and welcome to something new, something different. Today's video, as you probably can gather from the title, is different from my normal ragtag schedule. Today's video is the start of a new series I intend to carry on for as long as I make videos about War Thunder. It is a War Thunder orientated video series and it's going to be less like Smart Thunder. Smart Thunder? Which one's Smart Thunder? I hear you say. And I say go check out my channel. Go look at my Smart Thunder series, come back. I probably put a link on the screen now so you don't have to worry about hunting, even though it is staring you in the face when you approach my channel. Moving on from that, the series, as you probably have observed from the title above, is called Crew View. It's supposed to explain what the idea of this video is. It was my best attempt at trying to make it slick. I hope it was slick. That was the idea. So, the idea of these videos is to have a discussion about things. It's not going to be jam-packed with information like Smart Thunder. It means I can, oh god, if you had a webcam now, it means I can wave my hands around like a complete fool whilst I'm trying to discuss things, which actually works. I'm quite impressed with that. So it's going to be less ram-jammed, more casual, more ranting, about anything to do with War Thunder. That could be anything to do with tiering, historic documents, oh dear, correct angles of attack, anything to do with that. It's going to be aircraft until I get a new computer, because I don't have the capability to do either sim battles or tanks, because the frames per second is dire. So without further ado, let's get on with the first crew view episode for the series I'm going to start. This crew view episode is about the M4 cannon mounted on the P39 and some of the P63 series. Alright Runix, I'm listening, but you said that this crew view discussion is an explanation. That's true, but it can also be other things, like picking apart problems or things that I see. Okay, but I thought there was nothing wrong with the M4 cannon. That may be what some of you are saying. The alternative is other people saying, oh god, is this a sign? People are explaining, finally understanding that there is something really badly wrong with the M4 cannon. Some people's opinion. Other people may be saying, I didn't think there was a problem with it. I thought it works sometimes. I'm listening. All of you should be asking the question, what exactly is the problem that you seem to be finding with it? Well, I've got a few clips that I put together that I can show you with this. I've also got some facts lying around somewhere in my room that I can also discuss with you, and I can also run some statistics with you from the game of War Thunder itself about the issue. Now those of you who have been playing War Thunder for a good while, or just know the P39 and its background and people who play it pretty well, will know that a lot of people will call that cannon, the 37mm M4 cannon, the pineapple shooter. The pineapple shooter, indeed. Why is it called the pineapple shooter? Because a lot of the time it can feel about as effective as throwing a pineapple at an aircraft. Though you'd want to think that's not the case. That is a lot of the time what it feels like, especially in realistic battles. You can pump the enemy aircraft full of pineapples, and it has no effect, or little effect, compared to the only few comparable cannons. Which brings me on to the next point, and this is the main part. A 37mm M4 cannon cannot do the same amount of damage as similar cannons, which is really A, disappointing, B, worrying, and C, unexplainable if you don't have the knowledge. And this is exactly what I'm going to discuss today. Now the two comparable cannons that we have is the NS 37mm on the Yak 9T and the effective upgrade to the M4 cannon, the M10 on the P63. Now before we look at the details and the facts about these two cannons of its approximate tier, I'd like to show you some footage that I made from a simple user mission I constructed of a P39 attacking a 9 group of Focke-Wulf 200 Condors and a Yak 9T engaging the same condors. Let's have a look. I've made the setup as fair as I can. Both sides start from the same place, get the same speeds, we get the same run up, the whole 9 yards, they get everything. So this is just a matter of how the game plays out. You remember when I said that the cannon is notorious for being like throwing a pineapple? Well, I stick to that, except for that pineapple can decide whether or not it wants to explode, which is a bit odd, but still. You're about to see that in the next clip, or this clip right now. You can see I'm aiming quite far ahead, but look where I hit. Fire now, off the round goes, and look how it impacts the wing. Fire. It pretty much sums about that shot, really. A fuel tank shot. That's why it went up, not because of penetration. So the first shot was a good shot. It hit the fuel tank, it set it on fire, it didn't bring it down, but hey, it was a good shot anyway. Now, the cannon is intended to bring down bombers, so it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, it's bringing them down, but compared to the other cannons of its tier and comparable size, it's not that good. I mean, it took one shot, no wings came off. And it's so random and unpredictable, as I said with the pineapple example, that you really can't tell what you're going to get. Now, I know this is going very slowly and all, but you can see what I'm about to do here. I'm about to attack this fog wolf that I've just highlighted. But what comes next is beyond frustrating. Look. One shot. And that one hits, or misses, sorry. Second shot. Spark. You saw it there. Another shot. No damage. Yet another shot. And it just hits the tail. Now I know if you hit a tail it's quite tough, but I'd expect more hitting power. That's another one. Spark. It's all wrong. A 37mm round hitting a target and doing nothing 4 times. Now you saw that the position affects how well the aircraft will take down the opponent, which is the same with anything, any cannon, any gun. So we change position, we go for a different position. So, perfect underbelly shot, couldn't get much better position. Here we go, off it goes. Spark. You see where it looks like it's sparked? It looks like it's underneath the wing. It's actually not. That was a fuselage hit. Fuselage. The weakest part of a bomber. Fuselage. No damage. No crits. No control failure. No oil leaks. Nothing. And it was a direct hit with no funny angles at the correct place, the correct trajectory. It hit on target. And it exploded, and it did nothing. And what's worse is it carries on. The second shot causes the flap to come off. And it's a dead-on hit. With a 37mm round. The aircraft should have blown to pieces, according to any logic. Look. That was the first critical hit. A genuine critical hit. 4 shots. Tell me you see where I'm coming from now. That's a 37mm projectile, hitting the target in numerous times in the correct places to hit some kind of critical damage. And it's doing little or no damage, superficial damage. You just see bits come off. And that has no effect. But this cannon was designed to take down bombers. And what's more, it was designed to obliterate bombers, not like a 12.7 round and just hound them down. It was supposed to be only a few shots and it would just explode. Now, we saw that in the first one, but it's so random and unpredictable. I think this one in particular would explain the common feeling for realistic battle players. It sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. The first one is a spark. The second one gets some smoke. And it's like, how can it be so unpredictable compared to the other cannons of its tier? The third one manages to explode all of the features of the aircraft but the tail. Let's not get too drawn into ranting and raving about the cannon and its poor performance. Let's do some analysis of this. On average, it takes around 3 to 4 shots to bring down an enemy Condor, right? With the P-39 M4 cannon. Even though you'll be using the same rounds almost every time, hitting the target in similar positions, it's hugely unpredictable. And the damage you do is normally not a single event of complete catastrophe. It's not the whole thing explodes. The damage you do is normally some critical damage somewhere along the line. Let's go get the yak, shall we? Yes, much more like it. Even I approve. Definitely more firepower you can feel. The piddly little M4 cannon is no more. We're now using the LS 37mm cannon. Remember, we're using the same targets, and we're doing everything the same except for we've swapped aircraft. So a good start point would be from the attack from the same angle. So here we are. The first shot I miss, I undershoot. Notice how we're aiming for the wings again, the same position. The second shot, we get a much better result, as you will see now. Off it goes. Hits the target. Oh look. Looks to me like it's just this plane in particular. That's not the case. The first shot I just overshoot and miss the engines. No matter. I can make up for it in the second shot I take. Here we go. Underneath, and we get a fuel tank hit. How can you tell? The aircraft instantly catches fire. Why does it do that? Immediate action incendiary rounds, or some sort of similar equivalent, in the ammo belt of the 37mm. But we're not looking at whether or not it does that kind of critical damage. We're looking for whether or not it blows the plane up. That's the key part here, is its firepower. That's the important bit. Now I'm trying really hard to avoid the whole Bush and Riot thing, but it's going to come round at some point. Now the first one again is a miss, no sparks yet. Second one, aiming the tail, hits the tail, goes through the tail, takes the wing off. Yeah. Clearly you can see it's got some punch behind it. This next clip is very important in identifying that cannons have their flaws. What's that you're saying? The Focke-Wulf Condor 200 has a tail which is made of staluminium? No, I don't think so. I think it's more along the lines of Gaijin's horrible damage models. You can see here that 2 shots to the tail do no damage, but on the third shot the whole aircraft explodes and goes on fire. Makes little or no sense. Yet another failure to destroy the target. The second shot I take here hits the ridge, the back really, of the fuselage of the Condor, which is a pretty weak point actually, and it sparks. Bizarre? No. In this instance it was to do with the angle. The fact that it just skimmed makes all the difference. Let's have a look at this one. So we're coming in from the approximate underside. I know it's quite a shallow angle of attack, but hey, it's a good shot to prove that the M4 is simply lacking that punching power. Off goes the first shot, it's a spark. Hey, but it's the underside. True, no critical damage caused, no fires, no nothing, and it wasn't a tracer round. Although it does have the tracer filament, that doesn't mean it's a tracer round. The second shot, oh dear, wing gone, on fire. And now you see my side of the picture. This one kind of rams home the point I'm trying to make. First shot is a spark, or a miss, sorry. The second shot is a spark, but the third shot, and this is odd, hits the top of the Focke-Wulf and breaks the wing off. This is the underlying point, people. Compared to the M4, the competitors for the same caliber are superior in power, even though they're using the same size. Odd, right? Well, it's explainable. A final clip then to show the randomness and unpredictability of larger caliber guns in their effectiveness. That's one, that's a miss, and that's a second one into the fuselage. No damage. Bizarre. Okay people, you can put down the pitchforks and put away the bush and rice signs. There is an explanation. Especially for the Yak 9T compared to the M4 cannon. Let's have a look at the velocities, historically from Wikipedia, of these two cannons. The velocity of the M4 cannon using armor-piercing rounds is 610 meters per second. The velocity of the NS 37mm cannon is 900 meters per second using high explosive and 880 using armor-piercing tracer rounds. 880 as its minimum. This difference effectively explains the overall performance of the two cannons. The more kinetic energy the projectile has, the more damage it's going to do when it slows down, because all of that energy is absorbed somewhere else. So what could we compare the M4's velocity to? Well, I had a look at the German 20mm cannons, and I found the results quite interesting. The 20mm MG151-20 has a velocity of 700 to 785 meters per second. The 30mm MK108 mounted on the ME262s, however, has a velocity, as most of you jet fighters will know, of 540 meters per second. I'm trying to explain something which is somewhat hard to explain. The 37mm M4 cannon has better performance than cannons like the 20mm, up for the Germans, but its same size contenders, such as the NS-37, perform better than it does and better than the 20mm. What does that mean? It's a bit odd and a bit contradictory to what you may think, but it's pretty simple in the end. Effectively, the M4 is no more of an upgrade than the 20mm Hispano cannon that you got in the P400. Which is strange because it's a higher caliber, but that's the way it goes. So that's it. That's all I've got for you today. It's been an interesting episode of Crew View if you ask me, but hey, I want to hear your opinions. If you like the video, then don't hesitate to like the video below. Add a comment or an opinion that you have. I'd like to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I thank you for watching the video if you've got this far. I'd like to know what you'd like to be discussed the next episode. If you've got any ideas, then put them in the comments below, and I'm sure I'll get round to reading them. So this has been Runix, and this has been a Crew View. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next episode. Goodbye.